Welcome back. Now, Margot Somerville is one of the most respected ethicists in the English-speaking world, and that's not hyperbole, believe me. She's an author, a professor at McGill, and she joins me now from sunny Montreal. Welcome to you.
Hi, Michael.
Now, a lot of cases about the family recently, and I think that one of the most cutting and poignant was, we had it on the show yesterday, two lesbian women in California who, from the age of 3, thought that their little boy wanted to be a little girl, and they've started the hormone treatment at the age of 8. At 11. I mean, it's a very worrying story. It's not unique, though. We've heard several like this. But I suppose it's the nature of family and children. In a family, is a family meant to be child-centred?
Well, I think it is, yes. I think that families are basically founded for the children, not for the adults, although I think the adults get a lot of benefits out of them as well. I mean, all of the latest research is showing that people who are in a stable married family usually are better off in many ways, health-wise, in terms of their emotional state, and often too as well financially. But, you know, it doesn't always work out that way. But, Michael, I'm absolutely shocked that any doctor would be providing hormones to a child against its own biological sex. I mean, I would have thought that the child would have immediately been taken by child welfare authorities as being abused.
Well, this is what I said should happen, and it stunned me, but it's now been quite heavily documented. Now, I don't know the name of the drug, but it blocks the hormonal development. So male puberty will be delayed until the age of 14, when this child can decide whether it's male or female.
Are you sure this is not an intersex child? I mean, it's a very different thing if this is a valid medical treatment.
No.
It's just a normal boy.
Well, normal boy, although what I find deeply troubling is there's an obvious speech impediment, and I think there could even be some form of retardation as well. But no, from everything that we've read, and now several stations have covered this throughout the UK and North America, no, a physically normal child, and the parents have said that because he expressed that he wanted to be a girl, and children want to be all sorts of things, that they were using this blocker now to give him the time, well, they already call him Tammy instead of his name, to make the decision. But it goes beyond that, doesn't it? It's now in Ontario, we have an election, and one of the issues, well, sort of one of the issues, is a curriculum emphasising that there are various genders, that family is pretty much what you want family to be. We all want to be tolerant and understanding and make sure kids grow up with love, but there seems to be an agenda at play here.
Well, there is. There's an ideology here that you can be whatever you want to be. It's a matter. It's called, you know, preferences. That if your preferences are a certain way, then they should be respected just the same as anybody else's preferences are another way. But I think the big divide comes here between those of us who argue about these things. Is there any natural reality that we should start off from? And I happen to be one of the people who believe that there is a natural reality, and I think one of those natural realities is that one half of us are female and one half of us are male, and there are some people that sort of fall in some ways in between, and certainly there are gay people, and we don't know, you know, why they're gay, but probably that's also natural. I believe that it is. And we need, I mean, obviously we all need to respect each other no matter what we are. I mean, that's the essence of human dignity. But whether we alter our institutions to accommodate those in ways that we think are not best for the people the institutions are meant to protect, that's a further question. You see, my view is that marriage is primarily an institution meant to protect children, and it's only secondarily for the adults. And that therefore, if you believe that a child is best off, if at all possible, with its own biological mother and biological father, and being brought up in a family with its biological relatives, which I believe is the case, then you won't alter that in ways that say to kids, well, no, you don't have any rights to both a mother and a father or your own biological parents. I mean, we're doing all sorts of things that I think in the future people will look back on and say, how could they have done it? I mean, just take the surrogate motherhood industry that's going on. It's absolutely horrible. And where they're building more or less like hotels in certain countries, India's one of them, and these poor women go in there because if you're rich, you're usually not acting as a surrogate mother, and those women go in there, they stay there, they're looked after while the baby grows inside them, and the minute it's born, it's handed over to 2 other people or even 1 other person. I mean, it's just horrible. It's, I think we're going to look back on this era and look at it the way that we now look at our physical environment, where we look at that and we say, we've done really bad things that have harmed that immeasurably, and we're not even sure if we can correct them. And I think we'll look back on what I call our metaphysical or non-physical ecosystem, which consists of all these values and ideas of family and what you owe to each other, what you owe to your kids, etc. And I think we'll say, well, look at what we've done. It's a terrible thing that we've done.
Yeah, this is wonderful to hear, and I think it's really the intellectualizing of the instinctive, it's an application of common sense. And I should emphasize that you're not coming from a particular faith background or even an ideology-driven background. It's simply as an ethicist. But you have faced unfair criticism, even censorship, for, I think, expressing the view of the vast majority of people in this country.
Oh, yeah, I don't worry about that, Michael, because I think people have got to be able to criticise you, and you have to be able to take it, or otherwise, you know, it's the old saying, if it's too hot, get out of the kitchen. And I've never had anybody that I perceive, well, maybe I'm thick-skinned. Don't forget I'm Australian. And I've never found them to be really nasty. I mean, sometimes people have been worried about my safety, and that has bothered me. At one point, the Mounties, who were doing some safety checks for a speech I was given, asked me whether I'd wear flat shoes. And I said, why? And they said, oh, in case we've got to make a run for it. But fortunately, nothing like that has happened. And you know, I think we need to hear this range of views. I don't mind hearing the views that are opposed to mine. In fact, I welcome it, because unless I know what those are, I don't know what the arguments are that I need to look at and to think about and to develop.
Wonderful stuff. So glad that you're working in this country. Margot, thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure as always, Michael.